Hello everyone, it's Jen. I'm back with another video using the Doodlebug Hey Cupcake. If you saw my collaboration with Kristie Marcotte, you will know that we created 50 cards together using this collection. I was getting ready to put it away and decided if I don't use it up now, I never probably will. So I thought I would do something a little different, show you what I had left over and create some more cards with you. So I'm just showing you, I had 3 sheets of pattern paper left. I had this one that I had cut out for the first video that didn't make it. I have a ton of the mini icon stickers left. I didn't use a bunch of those. And then I have a little baggie here full of colored images from the stamp set. So here's card number 1. There's no process for this. If you remember in the first video, I was keeping that piece of paper. This card is from the first one, and the second one here is a similar one. I didn't have that same pink paper, so I went ahead and used the rainbow. I loved that kitty paper with the balloons. So for card number 2, I had cut out this piece of pattern paper using this is the Sunny Studio semicircle die, and this card just didn't make it into the first video. So I went ahead and decided to make a shaker card using some Trinity Stamps star sprinkle embellishments here. And I had already gone ahead and laid my transparency sheet down as well as some foam tape, adding a second piece of that transparency. And then I can go ahead and figure out which color cardstock I want to use for the background of the shaker. And I decide on this nice bright blue color. You're not really going to see much of it anyways, so I wanted that bright color to be popping through so those star confetti really shine through. So I'm just going to add some ATG adhesive here and then a little bit of liquid adhesive just to make sure that that sticks well to my cardstock, and I will add a stamp block there to ensure that it adheres before I continue on with the card. So I'm stamping out It's Your Birthday. This is from the Doodlebug stamp set, and I just had a piece of this green pattern paper left, so I thought I would use that up. Cut a little fishtail banner to the one side, and then I'm going to adhere this down to the bottom of the semicircle, and this is where all my little stickers are going to sit. It'll just help ground them a little bit. So I will trim off that one side that's overhanging. And this is actually the only card out of the 6 in this video where I use the stickers, so I have a ton of them left over. I find that the mini icons are a bit too tiny for the cards that I like to make. I prefer the icon size, which were the size that Kristie used in her video, so if you want to check out that video, I will link it below and at the end of this video as well. And my first 16 cards that I did. So here I'm just laying out all these little icons, kind of like a collage. All of these little elements appear in the pattern paper, so it ties it all in together. And I wanted to add this little party horn, or I don't know what you call this, but I wanted to make sure that it was leaning against the other elements just so that it looked balanced. I'm going to add a few of the tiny little embellishment stickers here around my little pile of cuteness, and that will complete the shaker card, and we can move on to card number 3. So I had a few of the llamas left over and quite a number of the birthday presents. So I really kind of focused on using those up, and I loved this pattern paper. So I'm going to go ahead and have that the full size of an A2 size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I cut out some white cardstock using my Wonky stitched dies. I'm stamping out the sentiment, have an amazing birthday. And then I'm going to have my little llama kind of standing on top of the sentiment. So let me know if you like this kind of video. It's the first time I'm doing this where I've created a number of cards and then I'm going to show you what's left over and what I'm able to create. Sometimes with deadlines and just making those multiple card videos, you get tired and your creativity kind of starts to leave you. And so I often don't use up everything that I have in those videos, unlike Kristie, who is a superstar and uses up the entire paper pad. But I thought this would be fun, and like I said, I knew that if I just kind of put this away in my stash, I probably wouldn't revisit it for a really long time. So instead of letting it sit there, I decided to get them on some cards and show you some more options. I know a lot of you said that you purchased the paper pad once you saw the video, so you might actually just be getting your goodies and looking for some more ideas. So I do hope you enjoy the other 6 cards that I'm bringing you today. So I did add a few of those little stickers to match the pattern paper. I thought that looked really cute around my colored critters here and the little presents. Super cute. Super easy, as well as this one. This is a really clean and simple, easy card. So for card number 4, I'm using a card sketch, and I'm just using up some of those tiny little scraps of paper. I really like this sketch for giving a really good focal point to some images, yet allowing for a really clean and simple card. So I'm using some of the lollipop paper here and just cut that out with a stitched circle die. I'm going to go ahead and adhere my strips here as they cross similarly to that in the sketch. And then I am going to go ahead and I'll place this circle on top of that. I do add some foam tape behind the circle just to give it a little bit of interest because it is quite a clean and simple card. And you can see there to the left hand side I have all my little images. So I did a card very similar to this in the first video where I had the stacked presents and the little hedgehog, and I really liked how that turned out, so I decided to recreate it for this card. Again, using the sentiment "It's your birthday," this time I just stamped it out on some white cardstock. And I'll tuck that to the bottom of the circle, just leaving a little bit of the bottom peeking out. And then I'll go ahead and start stacking my presents. And like I did with the first video, I'm going to have some of the ribbons on the presents facing right and some of them facing to the left. I think this just adds a little bit of fun and interest as well. It was kind of hard using the presents because I had more of some colors than others, but I was able to get 3 different colored gifts on this particular card. So there I'm going to have my little hedgehog on the top. And I do decide after I corner around the bottom of my card here that I'm going to add a little cupcake behind his nose, making it look like he's carrying it. And there's that card complete. So moving on to the next card, card number 5, I had 1 full sheet of pattern paper left, the little sprinkle paper there that you can see laying on my desk to the left hand side. And then I still had some more of this lollipop paper. So I decided to add some yellow cardstock behind that and just kind of adhere that pattern paper a little bit wonky with that cardstock. I'm going to make sure that the blue lollipop pattern is straight on that sprinkled pattern paper. And then I'm going to use my little llama here. So this one, I don't know if I had a brown colored one in the first video. I had fun coloring the llamas in different color combinations. So this is how the little brown guy turned out. I'm going to have one of the presents, and then I had some of the envelopes left. This one says "Happy Birthday." There's also a little stamp that says "You're invited" that fits in the envelope as well. I didn't really have this card planned out very well, and I was hoping to have the envelope on a diagonal, but it wasn't going to work. So it looks a little funny sticking off to the right hand side, but I think it's fine. So I'm going to add that yellow present, and then I'm going to add a little birdie on top of that holding one of the balloons. Didn't quite get enough glue on the beak, so I just needed to add a little bit more. And once that's adhered, I can go ahead and add some more liquid glue and place that onto the card. So no sentiment with this one. I'm going to use the sentiment in the envelope there as the sentiment, so I can write something more on the inside of the card at a later date. So moving on to the final card, I didn't have any full sheets of paper left and I had a lot of little scraps. So I decided to cut them at 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to just simply lay them on a diagonal onto my card panel here. Just having some of the more colored papers to the bottom and then one with a lot of white space next. Just trying to balance out those colors. So then I'm using the green one and this plaid one, and then I'll go ahead and use one with a little bit more white space again. So some of this sprinkle paper. Again, I had a lot of that lollipop paper left over. I think it was because it didn't fit so much with the birthday theme of the stamps that I used. This strip is a little bit bigger, but I'm just going to make sure it covers the bottom, and then I just need a little tiny piece for that top right hand corner, so I'm going to use a little bit of that pink ice cream paper. So I will go ahead and trim off all of these pieces. I did end up getting a lot of glue on my desk, so I did just need to clean that off quickly. So you can see there's the card panel done after I've trimmed it. I'm going to add a white piece of cardstock here. This is simply trimmed out with a stitched rectangle die, and that's going to be the focal panel. And I had a bunch of balloons left, some more presents, and another llama, so I wanted to use that for my card. I'm just going to go ahead here and cut some of the balloon strings off just so that I can add them to the bottom so it looks more realistic. So I'm using an odd number of balloons here. I'm using 2 of the yellow, a blue, a green, and a pink. Just trying to get them into a nice bunch here. My fingers were so sticky with glue after I did this. So once I get those in place, I can go ahead and add the strings back for those 2 balloons that were to the top there. And of course the little strings were sticking to my fingers because, like I said, I had glue on them. I'm just trying to get those where I need them, and then I'll add a little bit of glue where the strings overlap each other as well. Just want to make sure that those don't come up once I have the card complete. So one final touch of glue here, I think, and then I can start putting the card together. I did go ahead and add some foam tape to my llama and my balloons. I'm using up some old 3M Scotch foam tape that I have. I use a different type of foam tape, and I'll link to both of them below. I get one now off Amazon, and I believe it's called Bertech. It's fabulous. It's so affordable. The release paper comes off. It's not staticky. And so I grabbed out my old 3M and am deciding to use that up. And I'm finding it's losing its stick a little bit. So if you have some that's been in your stash for a while, I would encourage you to get it out and use it up, or just maybe add a little bit of liquid glue. If it's older, you'll see me doing that probably coming up in videos as I try to use up the 3M. But like I said, I am more inclined to recommend the Bertech foam tape now. That's all I'll be using going forward. So I really love the layout of this card with the presents to the either side of the llama and then the balloons to the top. I thought it was so pretty, and I loved how that background turned out. I just wanted the pattern paper to be peeking out. That's why I used such a large white rectangle for the focal panel. And final step here, I'm just going to add my sentiment. Have an amazing birthday. And then I will add some white gel pen to the balloons as well. I had only done it on one of the balloons, so I just needed to make sure that they were all having a little bit of a highlight there, so they matched. And then I will add some polka dots to a couple of the presents as well. So after I get this done, I'll slow down the video and show you all 6 of the cards I made. So in total, 6 and 16 cards. I'm terrible at math. That's what, 22, I think? 15, 16, 17, yeah, 22. So I hope you really enjoyed this. I will show you what I have left over here as well once I show you the 6 cards. I really had fun with this collection and you all seemed to really like it as well. So of course I have the stamp. I have a few stamped images left, but not many. I have a ton of those mini icon stickers left. And then just a few scraps of paper. So those smaller strips I'll just go ahead and put on the insides of my cards. So I won't have very much left at all. So thank you guys so much for joining me. This was fun. Like I said, let me know if you like this type of video of kind of using up the rest of the paper pad, or if you're kind of bored and tired of it once you've already seen a multiple card video. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I'll see you down in the comments, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye!